good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma Jill Spirits of I'm here to give you a word on tonight. Gonna be pretty short. The title gonna be the death of Abraham. And you know we still doing Bible study. Um, the death of Abraham. Now you know Abraham lived a long and prosperous life, him himself. You know, but we left off of it yesterday. I did before. Um, we left off at Isaac and Rebecca. You know, Abraham wanted to find Isaac a wife. He all grown now, so it's time for him to get a wife. You know, and Abraham is old, so he sent his servants, you know, to go to his hometown to find a wife for Isaac. And he swore he had his servants to swear that he would not find a Canaanite wife for his son. You know, because he said that was instructed by God. You know, and so it also talk about the package Saturday about that he had a tough choice to make, you know, and he called out to God. He prayed to God to help guide him to find a perfect wife for his master's son. You know, so that was the package for the other day. Um, Today's lesson is listen. Today's lesson is the death of Abraham. You know, Abraham was a righteous man. He loved God and he had so much faith. Remember, we had just talked about trusting God with Abraham, with his son. You know, that was an amazing story. You know, I love preaching on that. I done preached on that so many times, and I love that story. You know, so now Abraham would take another. Abraham took another wife. You know, because you know Sarah gone. Now he still loves Sarah. You know, but he took on another wife. You know, Abraham blessed Isaac with everything that he owned. You know, because he know he about to die. You know, so he about to start and changing everything over to Isaac. You know, in the meantime, he did find him another wife. You know, but at his death, he gonna be next to Sarah. You know, he still loves Sarah. You know, so this package is gonna come from Genesis chapter 25, verse 1 through 11. You know, so now Abraham had taken another wife. You know, he ain't waste no time. Now, who name was Kendra, and she born so many kids. And remember, God had told Abraham that. Now Abraham just had that one child, you know, for Sarah, that one child from the Hagar slave girl, you know, and but God had told Abraham, your offspring gonna be so numerous, you ain't gonna be able to count, just like you can't count the stars in the sky. You know, but you know he had Isaac. He just had that one child for a long time, and he'll wonder what God talking about. You know, I ain't got but just one child. You know, two children. You know, he said he gonna be numerous, but now it is because this woman Contrell, she have for Abraham, she have so many kids. You know, I ain't even put it down, but y'all go to what this story at Genesis 25, 1 through 11. You're gonna see all the children that Abraham and his new wife have. This he called her a Cuban girl. Yeah, Cuban. The sons of the Cuban woman. You know, she had so many kids for Abraham. You know, um, and so he sent them away, and he kept only Isaac and Ismail, but he sent all the rest of the kids away. You know, it was so many. I think it was like 10, 12 of them. You know, from his son, he wanted them away from his son Isaac. You know, because you know, Abraham about to get Isaac a woman. You know, and there was too many um kids. You know, he didn't want around Isaac to the land of the east. Now Abraham died at a good old age, you know, and he lived 170 years old, and that's amazing, you know. And he did wonderful things on earth, you know. God to bless him in all kind of ways, you know. God to give him that promised child that him and Sarah was waiting for, you know. So he done made some of his lands legal, you know. So he did some of the things that he wanted to do that God had promised to him. And God already told him everything else gonna be left for your offspring. So 170 years was some good years. He lived a long and prosperous life. So now he's an old man full of years. Abraham died, and Isaac and Ishmael, his other son, buried him in the same cage in a field Aaron, where he buried Sarah. He wanted to be laid rest right next to Sarah. So he brought that burying site. We talked about that the other day. He bought that burying site for to have all his offspring to be buried there. So now Sarah is there. Abraham is there, and I think Isaac gonna be next. And then Jacob, Joseph. So all his offspring gonna be in that land. That's why he wanted that whole land, and he wanted the cage. So it could be enough for all his offspring to be buried there. So now to his night, the field of Abraham, that's the field, the last package we talk about from Hizanite. He brought it with I think it was 12 gold and silver. It had cost a whole lot, and that's why the man kept on playing with him. That's why the man kept on saying, you could bury your wife any way you want. You could just have it, but Abraham did not want no handouts. So there Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. Now after Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac. Everything goes over to Isaac. That's why God had told Abraham, you listen to whatever Sarah said, because Sarah had said, your other son, he got to leave. Because see, God had wanted um, Isaac blessing by itself. As Isaac blessing gonna be overflowing because he a part of God's plan. So that's why the other child had to leave. And see, that's why Abraham told the rest of his kids to leave. See, that's why God always move things out the way for new things to come in. That just like he had that's why Sarah had the Hagar girl son that had to leave. Because she didn't want to share the inheritance with Isaac, you know. And so that's how it was with Abraham with all the rest of his kids. He had to ship all of them away because he didn't want them around Isaac because Abraham know he about to die. So he about to give everything to Isaac and all the rest of the kids would have been there. Abraham a nice person. He would have been trying to cut shares to all 10, 12 other kids, Ishmael and Isaac. All of them had to leave out the way. All of them had to get out the way so Abraham can bless Isaac and instruct him on what he's supposed to be doing while Abraham about to depart. So he about to give Isaac everything, and everybody had to get out the way. He also wanted Isaac to have a wife. He wanted to see all this here go on before he died. You know, uh, so Abraham was buried along with his wife Sarah, his former wife Sarah. And he died and he blessed Isaac. You know, and who didn't live near Lamech. So we see that Abraham was a righteous man in the eyes of God, and he lived a long and prosperous life. Now he died at 100, and he lived 107, but he died 175 years old. So Abraham blessed Isaac before he died. And see, and that's what they had this other man. Um, I forgot his name. I put out so many packages, but he was gonna die, But then he prayed to God, and God gave him 15 more years. But first, God had told him, "Get your house in order." And see, that's what Abraham was doing. He was getting his house in order. He know he was about to die, so he would get everything in order. He shipped the kids away. He didn't want nobody around Isaac. And so when everybody cleared and got out the way, then he started blessing Isaac. You got to get your house in order. He got everything in order to bless Isaac. made sure everything was intact because he know he was about to die. And that's how that other man was. God said, get your house in order. And God added 50 more years to his life. 50 more years to his life when he was supposed to die less than 3 months. And he prayed to God. See, a lot of time when you think everything is hopeless, you think there's no way out, you pray to God. God can turn, and I'm talking to myself. I'm doing it also. Praying. But I got to start reading 3-4 times a day. I got to meditate on it. You remember Daniel was praying 3 times a day and then want to put him in a lion den because they don't want him to pray no more. You know, when you get to a point that you done did everything you did and the things still don't change, it just getting worse. No matter what the doctor tell you, you got 2 months to live. No matter what the doctor tell you, God, our doctor, God, our lawyer, God, our teacher, God is everything. So the doctor told him he about to die. So he turned his face to the wall and he started praying, and God said, get your house in order. And God gave him 15 more years. 15 more years. Because if it's not your time and you pray, and God give you more time to live, that means it wasn't your time to die yet. When God give you some more time. But when your time is ready, like Sarah and Abraham, then it did everything for God. Then it lived that life. Everything God told Abraham to do, he did it. Without mumbling, without complaining. That's just like Joe. Joe lived over 100 years old his own self. He done did all that. He done did everything. You know. Uh, so Isaac and Ishmael, to bury him in the same cage of Sarah. Now he married again, but he wanted to rest in peace next to his former wife Sarah. So remember this same field with the cage that he purchased from the Hezronites, the field of Aaron. Abraham married another wife and he had so many kids. You know, just like God said he was gonna have. So he had numerous kids. And so we doing this Bible study. We started from the front and we going all the way to the back. So we're gonna find out what Abraham other kids is doing, because I ain't never heard no more what Ashmael up until now since I'm reading this story back to back. So we're gonna find out what Ashmael is doing. We're gonna find out what his other kids is doing. We're gonna find out and learn so much of details of what is really going on. So Abraham, other sons, Ishmael, and his other 10, 12 children from the Cuban girl, they came from Genesis 25, 12 through 18. So now Abraham's son Ishmael, Sarah, the slave Hagar, Egyptian girl, born to Abraham. So Ishmael had so many children. He another. He had so many kids. But Isaac only had the twins. I Esau and Jacob. So his son Ishmael, he had so many kids also. So many kids. We're gonna be hearing more of Ishmael because God had to bless him also, and Isaac is blessed. So we're gonna be hearing more of these stories here as we go along. So Ishmael, he died. He lived 137 years old. You know, that comes from Genesis 25, 12 through 18. He died, but he lived. That's a long time. That's a long time. When you're a righteous person, and you living for God, you know, God gonna allow you to live that long. Back then the Bible they live a long time like this. Job lived in a long time, over 100. Noah, he lived a long time. So they lived a long time, and when they was alive, they was working for God. You know, they're working for God. So that's all the word I have for you on today. So um, I guess we won't be talking no more about Abraham. Abraham and Sarah had to part, and now the story gonna be about Isaac and Rebecca. When they have the twins, the nation. The nation, a part of God plan. That's why Isaac was the promised child. Because he was gonna have that child that gonna bring God purpose to life. You know, and that's Jacob and his offspring. So that's all the word I have for you today. So y'all have a blessed night, and I see y'all in the next video.